Hello and welcome to the Alpha Movement podcast. My name is Tom Foxley, and on today's show I am joined by Finn Christo, and I ask him, what does it take to row across the Atlantic? And the answer is essentially blood, sweat, tears, and a fucking huge dose of Stoicism. It is an awesome show. It's obviously, you may not have heard of Finn, but he hits it out of the park with what he talks about. So an awesome show with Mr. Finn Christo. It was also live streamed in my free Facebook group, Alpha Athletes Page 2.0, where a few guys got their questions asked to Finn, and you can do that exactly the same with a few of the guests that I have coming up on the show soon. And let me tell you, they are some big guests in the CrossFit world. So without further ado, here is Mr. Finn Christo. So Finn, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Thank you. Yeah, good. Thank you. A little bit wet. It's raining in Manchester. You know, I'm not that excited. I didn't mean it that way. But there we go. Start on a high note. Yeah.
Nice one. Sweet. So let's start with an introduction to yourself. Like, who is Finn Christo?
Yeah. So originally from Old Trafford, Manchester, and used to be an English teacher, and then decided I wanted to do something a little bit different. Took a year out. Did a whole bunch of stuff. Worked in a gym, was a personal trainer. Got my CrossFit certification. Decided actually I kind of like teaching, and then went into business instead. And that kind of gave me the opportunity to meet other people who, you know, are businessmen by day and crazy adventurers by night. And that led to rowing across the Atlantic Ocean. So before that, you know, Old Trafford pretty much landlocked apart from Salford Keys. And, you know, I didn't have any kind of rowing experience, didn't really know what to do on a rowing machine, let alone anything else. And it was, you know, now I consider myself an ocean rower. I'm quite lucky to be able to do that. Talk to different businesses now and then. I give motivational speeches, done a TED Talk, and I work with kind of privates and individuals, private groups and individuals on kind of not so much self-mastery, but self-development kind of thing. So yeah, that's me in a very mumbled nutshell.
Before we get on to the actual event, what was your kind of physical capacity until that training point? Because you mentioned CrossFit and you mentioned PT. So how did you train for all this, and what was your kind of background in fitness?
So I think I've always been interested in fitness. Been going to the gym since I could, and didn't really know what I was doing until kind of discovering the whole CrossFit thing. And I was quite lucky when Greg Glassman came over to the UK. I was able to attend that whole session. Yeah, and it was definitely an eye opener. And then they made us do Fran, and I've never been so close to throwing up and shitting myself at the same time, if I'm honest. So yeah, it was kind of like, okay, that was terrible. Let's do it again. And, you know, just trying to find out as much information as possible on, you know, what the hell happened. And it just kind of grew from there. And then, obviously, when I started getting ready for the boats, it was 2 years of prep. It was very much more kind of conditioning work, doing a lot of just long slugs of work, which was just mind-numbing, and I absolutely hated it. And then I started to kind of get interested in the whole, well, you hate this, but, you know, what kind of strategies, what kind of conventions can I put into place to not so much enjoy it, because I never really enjoyed it, but, you know, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and getting my ass down to the gym and then doing it again in the evening as well. So, yeah.
There's definitely a kind of a meditative practice to that kind of, like, once you get into it, it takes a while. Like, you can see the moving meditation thing, and if anyone listens to Casper van der Meulen's podcast, that was really good, speaking about those kind of long, slow duration runs that are fucking horrendous. But what was the story behind the decision to do it?
So I'm going to be completely honest with you here, and it's not that much of a revelation, but the official story was I was trying to raise money for Bolton Lads and Girls Club, and they have a mentoring program which works with kids in disadvantaged areas. They provide them with a mentor and help them get jobs, stay in school and all that good stuff. I'll be honest with you, that was secondary. Absolutely fantastic charity. More than happy that we raised all that money. But I saw the opportunity, and it was, would you like to row across the Atlantic Ocean? And I don't even think I finished the whole email. I just, replied back with yes, hell yes, me. And there was an interview process. There was a selection process after that. And then it basically got whittled down to myself and another gentleman, and then finally to me. So that's kind of how it came about. And it was three other, so I was working in Bolton. There was three other businessmen in Bolton who have quite strong ties to the club. And it was the idea that, okay, let's raise some money, but let's fucking raise some money and let's do something that is really going to raise people's eyebrows. It's not, and this isn't to, shut on any other accomplishments. It's not, cycling from one end of the country to another or climbing Everest or anything else like that. It was, let's think of something that is absolutely batshit crazy and then, try and raise a shitload of money to go with that as well. And rowing across the ocean was the option.
Yeah, and it's not just crazy, it's fucking dangerous too. You're out there.
It is, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we don't have that many, well, there haven't been any casualties apart from last year, unfortunately. There was a young lad from South Africa who was lost at sea. Other than that, though, there's a very real risk of not completing. A lot of, I can't remember, I think of the 15 boats that were trying to do it the year that I was doing it, I think 7 pulled out and, boats capsize. You get attacked by swordfish, which can get through the hull. And then you've got a leak that you have to deal with, seasickness, teams falling out. I mean, we fell out, unfortunately. And all those kind of things can really just stop you. And you're in the worst possible place for, things breaking down or teams breaking down. So we were extremely lucky to get across.
Did you know any of that stuff was going to happen before? Had you spoken to anyone who'd done it?
In my stupid little head, I thought it was going to be 6 weeks of lads on tour in a boat, doing a bit of fishing, getting an awesome tan, and
was it not
going to? No, well, it would fuck me. I have never been so pissed off with myself. I think it was 3 weeks in that I was thinking to myself, you stupid little idiot, why the hell you put yourself into this kind of situation? And it took a long time, if I'm honest. I think it took like the first month to get over that and then actually start to really enjoy is probably the wrong word, but appreciate the opportunity that I had. But it was a good solid month of, you fucking little idiot. What have you got yourself into?
That's the thing. If you think about it and you think, it'd be a few weeks. And then but it took you, was it 60 something days?
59 days.
Right.
Yeah. 59 days of fun and frolics. And I mean, there was another group of lads that did it a few years before us, and they have a video on YouTube. And it's a nice little, I don't know, like a 5-minute montage, and they're all having a laugh, and they're all laughing and taking pictures of each other, and yeah, this is a good crack. And I thought it was going to be like that. And then it just became, I mean, the boat broke down, navigation, auto helm, the seats broke down. What else? The team structure, we fell out with each other. Bloody sharks started following us, and it just became, holy crap, this is not what I signed up for. The weather, worst possible weather we could have had. I think first month was basically just cloudy skies, winds, 40-foot waves, rain. It was just terrible weather. And it was definitely not as advertised. And I mean, last year I was following some of the other teams that I've gotten across. They had an amazing time. And, they come off, get off the boat in Antigua, and they're like, yeah, best of friends. And yeah, we did it. And this, that, and the other. And I was genuinely thinking about killing, the other guys on the boat just to get a bit of peace and quiet. And it was just, I think, looking back, appreciating, and this is actually more of I'm going to get corny now, so much of a life lesson, but appreciating the opportunity that the challenge gives you. And I think if it had been, in retrospect, knowing what I know now, a nice, easy kind of, well, not easy, but if it had been, we got across, we had a good laugh, we got a great time, beards, I probably wouldn't have gotten as much out of it than what I have.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think, coming from someone who's literally never done anything remotely similar, it's the hardship that you go through that makes you into a better person and kind of teaches you the lesson. It's never an easy lesson to learn.
Yeah, so I can agree with that.
What was the fight over? Let's go for that, because that's the thing that's pretty.
Oh, man. Okay, we had a very rigid team structure, which didn't work when, I guess, the more senior parts of that team structure decided they didn't want to do the role anymore. And that's always kind of, it kind of begged belief, because it wasn't like, the Truman Show. There wasn't like a button that we could press and the door would open or someone would come and get us. We're in the middle of the fucking ocean. Like, great, you don't want to do it? Well, fuck, you know what? We still got to go. We still got to row. So I think that was the biggest blow for me. And that really damaged the team to the point that we had a physical altercation. Not myself. I unfortunately was stood between the two people that decided to go at it. And then it was just, at that point, the team was gone. It was just 4 individuals on a boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And again, you're sleep deprived, you're fatigued. It's a month of shit weather. You're scared. I'll be honest with you. It was absolutely terrifying. There's nothing out there. It's there's waves, there's the sky, and then that's pretty much it. But the smallest thing can set you off. I remember being pretty fucking pissed off that someone had used my spoon for lunch. And it's just, little things like that would actually absolutely, make you fly off the handle. And I mean, we tried to address that in the 2 years that it took to prepare for it. So we used to do, team bonding. We, spend a lot of time in each other's pockets. Bit of a weird one in terms of the psychology of small boats. If somebody had to take a shit, then the rest of us would go in there with him. So it was
for any particular reason.
So I don't know if this is just the sailors in Wales having a laugh with us. But they told us it was basically because you're going to be in close quarters, you're not going to have room or the opportunity to be squeamish or, to have the same kind of land sensibilities that you would on the boat. I mean, the boat is 29 feet across and then about 6 feet across. 29 feet longer than about 6 feet across. So there isn't much room. You can't you don't have any space. You're surrounded by these 3 other men. So the idea was basically, you're going to have to take a shit in front of each other. You're going to have to take a piss in front of each other. Someone's throwing up. You're going to see it while you're eating your breakfast. It was just kind of like that. So I remember we started doing that, and it was a little bit of a sense of what was coming. So one of the lads would need to have shit. We'd all go upstairs into the hotel toilet and just kind of stand around while he's squeezing it out, and we'd take turns and all that kind of stuff. And it was just these weird things that we would do just to try and build up our, I don't know what you'd call it, not so much mental capacity, but resistance to being uncomfortable. And even then, once we were out there, it was nothing compared to the experience.
Yeah, I bet. What other kinds of prep were you doing? Like, obviously you got the physical prep. What was that like?
So an example would be you'd be on a watt bike doing Tabata in a fucking garden tent that had a electric heater inside. So you'd be absolutely sweating, and then trying to, I don't know if anyone's had the experience of being on a watt bike, but they are designed by Satan himself. They are just horrible pieces of equipment, or a shitload of sprints, loads of circuits. And then it was like the one thing that stuck in my head is 10K a day. So every day we would run 10K a day, and I hate running. I think it's more because I look like a really camp giraffe when I run. So just having to do that 10K a day was horrendous. So that's kind of the physical side of things. Yeah, I mean, the fun stuff was eating. So the last 3-4 months before we left land, it was just trying to get as much size on as possible and not being too picky about what quality of size it was, if it was fat or muscle. I'm a pretty slim lad anyway, so, after 2 years of, 10K a day, I was very, very happy to put a bit of size on. Yeah.
Yeah. How was the kind of mental preparation? Could you do anything for that, or did you understand that?
So the advice that we were given was to be as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah.
And it could be the smallest thing, like going and having 3 men stand around you while you take a dump, to not so much working with sets of reps and just doing it until you can't physically do it anymore. And a lot of the endurance training was less about the physicality of it and more the mindset of it. You can't get off this treadmill, or you can't, go home until you've done this 10K. And just little small things like that. It could be something as small as, not having your morning coffee, or not having any food until, lunchtime, or it's raining, so you're going to walk in the rain as opposed to, taking a bus or a tram. And it was just finding these little small things throughout your day-to-day life that you identify as being a source of discomfort, and then just accepting them. We were literally naked, freezing cold, soaked wet through for the whole 59 days. We had no dry clothes. So if you imagine the clothes that you're wearing now being soaked with salt water and freezing cold, and you have to wear that for 59 days and then be surrounded by 3 other naked men. It was just a horrible, horrible experience.
Yeah, definitely. It reminds me a lot of military training, that aspect of just A, being very comfortable with other people, and B, the just kind of the grit it out mentality. There's nothing you can do apart from stroke after stroke after stroke. And exactly the same when you got your head down with the burden on. It's just step after step after step. That's all you can do. It's had you done anything like physical challenges before, or anything like that?
Nothing magnitude. I think the 10K barefoot for comic relief, backpacked around China for 5 years. What else? That's about it, really. Yeah, nothing like this.
No. What's that moment like when you push off as well? Because you must be like, oh fuck, it's actually happening.
Do you know what? That's what I'm expecting. And I've spoken to a few, I think it's like sport psychologists who have interviewed me on the whole mindset prep side of things. And I didn't get that. And that's what I was expecting. I was expecting, holy shit, here we go. Instead, it was this feeling of completeness. And again, I'm going to get really, really corny, so I apologize. But it was almost like if it had been a movie or a book, it was kind of knowing that this is why you are here. You are here to do this, and now you are doing it. And so far I've not had experience again. Yeah,
it just sounds brutal. Just the day after day, the relentlessness of it. It's stroke after stroke. It was like, what was the bit? Well, I'm guessing there are many bits where you thought, "Oh fuck, why have I done this?" But what's the bit that stands out?
So the boat capsized about 3/4 of the way in, and unfortunately, I was on shift, so I was rowing, and just out of nowhere, it was like 5 or 4 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, overcast, so we couldn't see any starlight, moonlight, anything else like that. And just out the corner of my eye, I just saw this black wall approach from starboard, and I was just underwater. And the problem is, so we have spare oars on either side of the boat, and I was stuck between the oars and the stanchions, which are basically the edges of the boat, and I couldn't get back up, and I started to drown. And I think while so I couldn't get myself back up, I couldn't get back onto the boat, onto deck. and got water going up my nose and down my throat, and just I'm getting a bit now just talking about it. But while it was happening, I was very, very calm. I was just, oh wow, okay, this is how I'm going to die. Okay, didn't know that. Really, really calm. And it was only until I inflated my life jacket. The bolts are designed to be self-righting, so eventually it did self-right once my weight was off the side, the port side.
Yeah.
And once I was back on deck, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm a fucking kid from Old Trafford doing, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I've almost just drowned. What the hell, And it was just that moment of, I think there was an element of, why? If you had drowned, your parents would be pretty pissed. My wife would be pretty pissed off. It was just that kind of, why would I devalue them so much to put myself in this kind of risk? And I was the day after we capsized was a very difficult day, and I think the closest I came to quitting.
Yeah. Did you mention in your TED talk that your wife found that she was pregnant just before as well?
Yeah. So this was excellent timing on her part, and it was basically
not your fault at all.
Yeah. But it was basically, we talked about it, and I know this sounds really stupid, but a bit of a safeguard in case I did die. And, it was difficult because I missed the first trimester, and I missed, hearing my daughter's heartbeat for the first time. Missed being around while, she's throwing up with morning sickness, this and the other. When I got back on land, she'd gone from, quite a slim girl to holy shit. So it was an interesting pregnancy.
Yeah. What's the conversation like as well when that happens? Because surely that must have put so much doubt in your mind.
I'll be honest with you, and I don't want this to sound like I'm humble bragging or anything else like that. It made me more resolute to do it because I would, and this is kind of what kept me going. I didn't want to be the guy that will tell his kid, you know what, I tried to do this. Unfortunately, I couldn't. No. Tried but didn't. And I'll be honest with you, I would have, no one that had gone through what we'd gone through could have easily said, you should have just kept going. We navigation broke down, team, boat, seats, all that kind of stuff. We took the wrong fucking gas, so we couldn't have hot food. It was just horrible experience. And anyone could have said, you know what, we gave it our best shot, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be that guy that would, my daughter in the future, she finds pictures of me on her boat and goes, "Oh, Daddy, what's this?" I go, "I tried to row across the Atlantic Ocean. Did not want that at all. I wanted to be the guy that said, you know what, here's the map, here are the charts. So here are the charts. Here's a certification. This is proof that I've done it." And I wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds really corny, but it just made me so resolute to get across.
Yeah, I can completely see that. Did you have a support boat at all, or was there anything kind of backup systems or anything?
So the race organisers, they have a sailing boat, which is there for the direst of emergencies. And you've got 17 boats in the fleet, and then you have one support boat, and each of those boats goes a different route, different speeds. They can't be, alongside you. So we were completely unsupported. And you have the option when things break down to see if they can help. We wouldn't take that option with an unsupported role against our names.
Nice. And what do you do for food? Do you have it all with you?
So we were quite lucky. We had rated food, which, unfortunately, because it was cold water, because we took the wrong bloody gas, just tasted terrible. So we had things like oats with strawberries, oats with blueberries, chili con carne. What else? I feel like I should remember all this, but it was all really bland. So I had, these little bottles of Tabasco that I took with myself. We had a contact in one of the armed forces, which hooked us up with a whole bunch of squatty specific foods. So, Yorkie bars, chocolate bars, biscuits, ration packs. Again, just really, really nice sugary stuff.
Yeah.
And then pepperonis. And I don't know if I mentioned this in my talk, but you'd get a pepperoni maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that. And it was, it was meat. It was really, really salty. It was, it was like juicy. It was like, holy shit, And every day I'd have, and it wasn't like a proper fucking side pepperoni. It was one of those slim bastards.
Yeah.
And, I'd be like, I'm going to save this. I'm going to have a little bit now. And then I'll have another bit in 30 seconds and it was gone. I used to hate myself for it now. It's just, you try and ration it out, and instead it was just so damn good that that would go. It was a lot of Haribo, just as much as well as the ration packs, as well as and what we do is just add raw to it, mix it, wait an hour or so, and then try and choke it down.
Yeah, sounds bloody awful.
Yeah.
What was the shark situation as well? You mentioned sharks.
So flying fish. I've only ever, again, I'm from Old Trafford. The only time I ever saw flying fish were on BBC documentaries. And I thought, wow, they look amazing, so angelic, so graceful. No, they are fucking spiders with wings. They are horrible, slimy things that explode at the slightest touch. And it would be 3:00 in the morning, and you're rowing on your shift, and then something would fly out of the ocean and smack you on the neck and then explode trying to get off the boat. So in the mornings, there'd be like this blackened chum all over the deck. So experienced sailors that we were decided to just wash it off, obviously, so the place wouldn't stink. What we were doing was basically creating a trail of food for whoever was in the vicinity to kind of follow and eat. And I think it was day 4, day 5 that we spotted the shark, and we were just like, you know what? I'm happy to be uncomfortable. I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable and having the boat stink a little bit and have that fucking follow us. So it was, it was an experience. And, we didn't see him after that, which was good. We had a swordfish follow us for a couple of weeks, which was really weird. It was the same guy each time. Gave him a name, Ralph. And it's pretty good when he decided to part ways. Loads of dolphins, a few whales as well. Absolutely huge. They'd come up to the boat, see what we were, and then kind of glide off. And you'd be rowing, and you kind of look to your left and go, holy shit, what the hell is that? But, no collisions, thank God.
Did you have cameras with you or any kind of recording gear?
Yeah, so I took a GoPro, which was broken, and not by me. And then I had my iPhone in a Gorilla Glass case, which I got from eBay for like £4 or something. So I recorded everything, and it's on YouTube as well. And you can slowly see I start to get a little bit crazy as the video clips get along. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet there's a real chance of going completely fucking mad with it. How long did you go without seeing land? Like, I'm guessing it's a kind of day either side or 2 days either side. Yeah,
so I want to say it was end of the second day that we lost sight of La Gomera. And then Antigua was last day. We saw Antigua on the last day. So other than that, it was, 57 days of no land, no people, just water.
Yeah. What's that like looking around?
It gets boring really, really fast. I'd love to say it was, an amazing experience, but there's nothing out there. I think, obviously seeing the wildlife was always a plus. The night sky was amazing. There's a kind of bioluminescence in the ocean that kind of sparkles blue. So as you're rowing, you'll just see these waves of blue. And that's like, holy shit, this is amazing. Get a picture. And then by the third day, it's like, I couldn't give a fuck. And it was just that kind of, it was great. And then it would just be boring.
Yeah. But I think that must be the main thing, that the kind of the difficulty for me would definitely be the boredom. Just doing the same thing day in, day out. And is it 2 hour shifts you do?
Yeah, 2 hours on, then 2 hours off. So I took a lot of podcasts, took a lot of audiobooks. So I worked through Ender's Game books and The Stand, Tommy Knockers. God, what else? What's the other one? Oh, Master and Commander, because I thought it would be good to have a nautical themed book, which was
You couldn't have enough sea.
Yeah, so I didn't finish that one actually. So it's just anything to kind of keep your mind occupied. And the weird thing is, and this happened to everybody as well, as the days go on, there's nothing else to kind of think about. Your mind is constantly thinking. So you start to uncover these memories that you didn't know you'd lost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I was remembering loads of stuff from primary school, before primary school, high school, stuff that I'd completely, it wasn't, a lost memory. It was just something that I hadn't engaged with, and my brain, starved of things to think about, had kind of worked backwards. One of the other lads remembered all these memories about his dad and selection. And it was a really strange experience, if I'm honest. Just having your brain kind of open up to stuff that's already in there.
Had you done any kind of meditation practice or anything like that beforehand?
Yeah, so I'd taken up meditation a year beforehand, and what I'd tried to do is so I started off with 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, and got to a point where, so I'm quite a visual person. I use like a memory palace to organize my thoughts. So it was very much about visualizing a very safe space, being in that safe space, and just having a degree of peace. Had some hypnotherapy done as well beforehand to keep calm, and did a load of focus words, so certain words or actions that I would do in a heightened state that would help me slow my heart rate down and kind of focus my concentration. So there was a whole slew of little things that I tried to do to kind of build up.
Did you have like targets to aim for every day as well? Did you think, I've got to do this far today, or is it just go as far as you can? There was no way of doing it because the weather was so bad. I mean, the first week and a half, because the weather was so bad, we were literally just locked in the cabin on the power anchor and just trying not to throw up. So after that, it just became, let's just try and get a crop. So at first, we were all competitive, and we were like, let's get the fastest time, which is like 31 days or 35 days or something. And that went out the window pretty quickly. Then it was, let's be the fastest 4-man boat. And then that went out the window. Then the boat broke down. And then we were just like, you know what? Let's just fucking get across. And that was the kind of the main goal. For myself, I set my wristwatch. It was actually this watch to go off at midnight, which was a bit of a signifier for me that a day has gone past. That time is progressing. And one of the weirdest thoughts that I had, which I couldn't really shake for a couple of weeks, was that there was no land, that I would just keep on rowing and we would just keep going round and round and round. And it was really, the only land that you could see was the moon, for want of a better, source. So it felt like we were off. It's so weird, man. It felt like we were off the planet, and it was just like the planet from Interstellar. It just felt like that. We were just kind of roaring around it. There was nothing else to get to. So that stayed with me for a couple of weeks. That's trippy as fuck.
Yeah, it was. The hallucinations were really hard as well, because you start to become sleep deprived.
Yeah.
So you'd see people kind of standing just off deck, kind of watching you, and it was just so weird. I've never hallucinated before, so having people there, for me, I think it was this Victorian couple with a clipboard watching me, and I was just like, what the hell is that? And just kind of going, you know what, just keep on going.
Yeah, I bet. It sounds like, I don't know, I can't quite get my head around it. I've done a few things that are kind of right to the edge, like kind of 30 miles and shit like that, and a few things in the military, but it's just, I don't know, it's the length of it, and I think the isolation as well. I think that's the thing that like tips me over the edge.
It kind of, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say it kind of changed after the first month when the weather started to get a little bit better. We were getting some actual distance. I could start to really appreciate, the opportunity of being out there and kind of having the time to examine. And again, I'm going to go really corny, but why I was here, what set of values in my life had led me to this point of opportunity, and trying to understand, So I had a mantra, which was, it can't get any worse than this. And every time I said it, something else would break or something else would kind of go bad. And I just kind of stopped saying it. And it was less about, it can't get any worse. And it was more, I can do it. Bring it on. If it does get worse, that's fine. I can do this. I can do that. And kind of trying to reaffirm to myself that I was capable. And that was a really strong keyword for me, capable. So I ended up, fixing shit while the boat's going up and down. And, I tie a rope around myself in the decking to make sure I didn't, go off while I'm trying to, find a fucking Phillips head screwdriver to fix something or change ball bearings in a seat.
So have you got anything else on the horizon? Any other plans?
So tempted to do the Indian next year. Probably won't. Again, I think it's more because I've got a little girl and I really, I crave the time to spend with her and my wife, and to be away and to make them worry about something like that is, I don't know, I'd probably do it when she's much older. The only other thing that I've got coming up is I've got my first boxing fight in December to raise some money for cancer research. So that's a completely different set of training protocols, mindset that I need to get into. I've done a few years of groundwork and wrestling, catch wrestling, but not any striking. So, getting punched in the face is a new one for me.
Yeah, a bit different from rowing. If you link afterwards, we'll hook that up and give you if you got a donation page or anything, we'll sort that out.
Oh, thank you very much. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Have you got any books that you like, or what book have you gifted most to other people?
Say that last one again. Sorry.
What books have you gifted most to other people?
I have spent a fortune buying people The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand.
I haven't heard of that. Excellent.
Yeah, if you've got any American viewers, they're probably rolling their eyes right now. So it's, again, not so much a philosophy, but the story is about man's capability. And I've bought it for so many people. That's the one. I can't recommend it enough. I'd steer clear of some of the other books that Ayn Rand has written about the whole objectivism and the philosophy around that. You can get enough from the story in The Fountainhead. That's one of the books that changed my life. And I know how corny that sounds. I apologize, but it's very much about man living by a moral code and not so much setting limits to themselves, but realizing their potential.
Do you have any morning routines or any things you do on a daily basis?
And this is really corny now. So I get up every day about 5 o'clock, and I have a written list of affirmations, which I will read out loud to myself. I told you it was corny.
Nice.
But it works. I can't recommend that enough. I know, again, people must be rolling their eyes when they hear that, but it definitely works. So I've got that. And then wherever possible, I try and train. So I am a early morning gym goer, just because I feel like it sets me up for the day. I can't really relax if I haven't been to the gym or gone for a run or trained at home or something like that. So once that's done, it's out of the way and I can get on with the rest of the day.
And who's the first person you think of when you hear the word successful?
It's no surprise. I think people like Conor McGregor. He's somebody that I think is quite successful. Elon Musk. Those are probably the two names that come straight to mind.
Nice. Have you got any requests or favors to ask from our audience? Anything you want to tell them? Anything like
you want to get out there?
So with some of the talks that I do, and hopefully in the garbled mess, which was my TED talk, the message that I kind of want to get across is capability. And I think a lot of people sell themselves short. And this isn't me, trying to push a philosophy or a product or anything else like that. The lessons that I learned on the boat, I took and applied to my professional and personal life. And I have been able to develop to a point where I would consider myself to be successful. Again, that's not a humble brag, but I know the kind of person I was before the boat. And if you compare him to the person I was after the boat, if you told me, years ago, you're going to row across the Atlantic Ocean, I wouldn't have believed you. But we had one of the worst possible experiences doing it, but we did it. And, that capability is there. And if I can do it, anyone else can do it. And it's not just, rowing across an ocean. It's, small stuff. It's, getting to your day-to-day. It's, getting your career on the right track. It's kind of finding the answer to that thing that pushes people to, content like yourself and, the movement that you've garnered. So that's kind of my really corny after school message, which is, it's nothing new, but I think people aren't aware of how much capability and potential they have. And I would implore anyone to take the time to be by themselves and explore what that means for them.
Nice. It's definitely a good way to do it, to find out a bit more about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Days on the boat. Yeah, there's a quote, I can't remember who it is, that most men live a life of quiet desperation. And I think that's so true. People have this idea in their head that they can't do the things that other people have done and that they're limited themselves. But it's like you set yourself something like that and you do it and you change your man, change the human being. It's incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, any, and this is what I've said to other people as well. You write down what the goal is, you work backwards from that and you do it. And that's your 5-year plan. That's your 10-year plan. And there's nothing to stop you. There's no one that can stop you.
Nice. Where can people find out a bit more about you, follow you, if you want people to follow you?
I guess the easiest way is Twitter, which is just @FinnChristo, which is just my name. But there's a lot of craziness on there. It's more of a mind dump than anything else. I think I have a little WhatsApp group of people where we check in daily. So we set goals for each other, but we set goals, share those goals, and then we do a daily check-in. I need to do this, I need to do that, and check on each other. Also, there's the space that you've created with the Alpha movement and Alpha athletes, and that's another great place to be able to engage with people and in similar mindsets.
Cheers, man. Well, thank you so much for jumping on the show. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, it's a fucking cool thing to do, and
thanks.
And my girlfriend's going to have to restrain me from doing something similar soon, I think. So, cheers, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Alpha Movement Podcast. Don't forget, you can get access to these shows for anyone else. You can watch them live, and you can even ask your questions directly to some of these awesome guests via me live, and I shall answer them before your very eyes. So if you want to support the show, head over to iTunes, leave a 5-star review, connect with us on Facebook at facebook.com/alphamovementofficial, or you can find out more at alphamovement.co. And I shall see you soon for another episode of the Alpha Movement Podcast.